The cold wind blew hard across the empty land, making the tall grass bend low, far away from any city or home. The sky was dark and full of stars. A small spaceship fell from the sky, burning bright as it came down fast. It hit the ground with a heavy crash, shaking the earth and sending dust into the air. People from the nearby settlement heard the noise and ran toward the crash. They were curious and afraid, not knowing what to expect. When they reached the place, they saw the ship broken and smoking. Inside, something moved slowly. Trying to survive, a woman lay on the cold ground. Her skin was pale but glowed softly. Her eyes were large and full of sadness. She looked different from anyone the people had ever seen. Her clothes were strange and her voice was quiet but strong. "Let me keep you warm," she said softly. Looking at the leader of the group, her voice was strange but gentle, and it made the leader feel strange inside. No one understood her words at first, but they saw the cold around them and the pain in her eyes. They knew she needed help. The leader, a man named Jack, stepped forward slowly. He was tall and strong, but he felt a sudden fear he could not explain. "Who are you?" he asked quietly. The woman did not answer with words, but she reached out her hand. When Jack took her hand, a warm feeling spread through his body. It was like the cold did not matter anymore. Other people gathered around, watching in silence. Some were afraid, others curious. The woman looked at them all, her eyes full of hope and fear. She wanted to say more, but her voice was weak. The cold night was deep, and the stars shone bright. The people carried the woman to their small camp. They gave her warm clothes and blankets. Trying to make her comfortable, she smiled a little, and the warmth seemed to grow around her. But the night was not safe. Strange sounds came from the dark forest nearby. Animals howled and moved quickly. The people looked at each other nervously. Jack stayed close to the woman, protecting her. He could feel her heart beating fast, and he knew she was scared. "Why did you come here?" Jack asked again. The woman looked away, her eyes full of pain. She did not answer. But a tear fell down her cheek. Suddenly, a bright light appeared in the sky far above the trees. It moved fast and made a loud sound like a warning. The people looked up, their faces full of fear. The woman stood quickly, her eyes wide with alarm. "They are coming," she whispered. No one knew who they were, but the fear was real. The group gathered their weapons and prepared to defend their camp. The cold night felt colder now, and the silence was heavy. Jack looked at the woman again. She was not just a stranger or a visitor. There was something more, something important. He felt that her plea, "Let me keep you warm," was not just about cold. It was about survival, about hope in a dark place. As the night went on, the wind stopped for a moment. The stars seemed to shine brighter. The woman sat close to the fire. Her hand in Jack's. The people watched silently, waiting and wondering what would happen next. No one knew what danger was coming. No one knew if the woman would live. But everyone knew this night was only the beginning. The arrival of the alien woman was a mystery wrapped in cold and fear. Her warmth was a light in the darkness, and her story was about to change everything. The morning sun rose slowly over the quiet camp. The cold night had passed, but the fear still lived in every heart. The alien woman sat by the fire, wrapped in warm blankets. Her eyes watched the humans with quiet hope and a secret pain. Jack stood nearby, watching her closely. He wanted to trust her, but questions filled his mind. Who was she really? Where did she come from? And why did she say, "Let me keep you warm"? The woman moved slowly, as if saving her strength. When she touched the fire, the flames grew brighter and warmer. The people stared, surprised by this strange power. They whispered to each other, wondering if she was magic. One of the youngest, a boy named Eli, stepped forward carefully. He reached out to touch her hand, and a soft glow spread from her fingers. The pain in his scraped knee faded like a dream. Eli smiled, and for a moment the camp was filled with hope. But the woman's eyes darkened. She looked away. Hiding a secret deeper than the cold night, Jack decided to ask again, hoping for answers. "Why did you come here? What do you want from us?" The woman took a deep breath, her voice barely a whisper. "My world is dying," she said. "An enemy follows me. They destroy everything, take all warmth and life. I fled to survive, to find help, to save what is left." The people listened in silence, feeling the weight of her words. The cold around them suddenly seemed worse, more real. Jack asked, "What is this enemy? Why do they hunt you?" The woman looked at the sky, her eyes full of pain. They are shadows without hearts, cold and dark. They take life and warmth. I am one of the last survivors." Her voice trembled, and a tear rolled down her cheek. Suddenly, a loud noise broke the quiet. The ground shook as something large moved in the forest near the camp. The people grabbed their weapons, fear rushing through their veins. The woman stood quickly, her face hard and focused. "They are close," she said. Jack nodded, and the group prepared for what was coming. The sun rose higher, but the warmth it gave felt weak compared to the woman's strange power. As the day passed, strange things happened. Plants near the woman began to grow faster. Flowers bloomed in seconds. The air around her felt alive and warm, even as the wind howled cold. The people started to believe she might be their only chance to survive, but not everyone trusted her. A man named Tom watched her from a distance, his eyes filled with doubt. He whispered to others, "She is different. What if she brings danger here? We do not know her. She could be the enemy's spy." Tom's fear spread slowly through the camp. Some agreed, some stayed silent. Unsure what to think, the woman felt the change. The coldness in their hearts. She wanted to explain, to show she meant no harm, but her words were weak. That night, the woman sat alone near the fire. Jack joined her quietly. Sitting close, "Can I help you?" he asked softly. She looked at him and nodded, the first sign of trust between them. Jack asked, "Tell me about your home. What was it like?" She smiled sadly, her eyes far away. "My world was full of light and warmth, beautiful and alive, but the enemy took it all. They left only cold and darkness." Jack listened. Feeling a deep sadness inside, he wanted to believe her. But the fear of the unknown was strong. Suddenly, a shadow moved just beyond the firelight. The woman's eyes sharpened and she whispered, "They are near." The camp grew silent as everyone looked toward the dark woods. A cold wind blew, carrying with it a strange, heavy feeling. The enemy was coming, and this time they would not wait. Jack stood, ready to protect the woman and his people. But deep inside, he wondered if this stranger was the key to their survival, or their doom. The night stretched long, full of waiting and fear. The woman's warmth was a small light in the growing darkness, and her secret was the only hope they had. The sky turned dark again as the sun disappeared behind thick clouds. The camp was quiet, but the air was heavy with fear and questions. The alien woman sat alone by the fire, her eyes lost in memories far away. Jack watched her from a distance, wanting to understand more. Suddenly, the woman stood and looked at Jack. Her voice was soft but urgent. "There is something I must show you," she said. Jack nodded and followed her to a small, hidden place behind the camp. She touched the ground, and a glowing light appeared. It was like a small window into another world. Jack gasped as he saw the vision. A beautiful planet full of light, trees taller than mountains and rivers glowing with colors. But the beauty was broken by shadows. Dark shapes moved across the land, burning and destroying everything. Jack saw people running, screaming, and crying. The alien woman's voice broke the silence. "This was my home," she whispered. "They came with cold hearts and took all warmth." Jack looked closer and saw the enemy. They were creatures made of shadow. Moving fast and silent, they destroyed life and left only cold behind. The woman's eyes filled with tears as she told the story. "My people fought, but we were too few, too weak." The vision changed to show her running. She was alone, carrying a small glowing crystal close to her heart. "This crystal holds the last warmth of my world," she said. "If it dies, all life dies." Jack felt the weight of her words. He reached out to touch the crystal. It was warm and pulsing softly. The cold around them seemed to fade for a moment, but then the vision changed again. The enemy was coming closer to the camp. The shadows moved fast through the forest. Jack and the people needed to act soon. Back in the camp, whispers spread quickly. Some believed the woman's story. Others were afraid and angry. Tom, the man who did not trust her, gathered a few others. "We cannot let this alien bring danger to us," he said. "We must protect our home." Jack heard the words and knew the camp was dividing. He stood before the group. "We all want to be safe," he said. "But she carries a secret that can save us." Tom stepped forward. "Or destroy us," he warned. The night grew colder, and the fire burned low. The alien woman stood quietly, feeling the fear and doubt. She wanted to help, but she also felt alone. Jack moved closer to her and said, "We will face this together." Suddenly, a loud sound came from the forest. Branches snapped and heavy steps moved closer. The enemy was near. The people grabbed their weapons and prepared for battle. The alien woman held the glowing crystal tight. She moved to the center of the camp and raised her hands. A warm light spread from the crystal, pushing back the cold and dark. The shadows hesitated, then attacked with fury. The battle was fierce and loud. Humans and the alien fought side by side. The woman's warmth healed wounds and gave strength. Jack saw the power of hope in her eyes. But the enemy was strong and more shadows came. The camp was on the edge of destruction. In the chaos, Tom tried to sneak away with a weapon. He planned to strike the woman, believing it was the only way to save them. Jack saw him and rushed forward. A struggle broke out, and the crystal fell to the ground. It cracked, and a cold wind swept through the camp. The warmth dimmed and fear returned. The woman looked at the broken crystal. Her face showed pain deeper than the cold night. But then she touched the pieces gently. A soft glow returned, brighter than before. The enemy stopped and watched, confused. The warmth was stronger now. The woman smiled sadly. "We will survive," she said, "but only if we stay united." The night ended with quiet and hope. The camp was damaged but alive. The alien woman and humans knew their fight was just beginning, and the echoes from her home would guide them through the dark. The sun hid behind dark clouds, and a cold wind swept through the broken camp. The warmth the alien woman brought was strong, but the danger was closer than ever. Shadows moved through the trees, silent and deadly, hunting for their target. Jack stood at the edge of the camp watching the dark forest. His heart beat fast as he felt the enemy's presence growing. The woman beside him held the glowing crystal tightly, her eyes sharp and full of fear. "They will not stop," she said. "The shadows hunt me because I carry what they want, the last warmth of my world." Jack nodded, his hand steady on his weapon. "We will fight to protect you," he promised. Suddenly, a soft noise came from the trees. The camp froze as figures stepped out from the shadows. They were the enemy, creatures made of darkness and cold. Their eyes glowed like dying stars, and their voices were like whispers of death. The creatures moved quickly, surrounding the camp. The people raised their weapons, ready to fight. The woman stepped forward. Her hands glowing with warm light, she called out, "Stay behind me." The battle began with a roar. The creatures attacked with sharp claws and dark energy. The humans fought bravely, but the enemy was strong and fast. The woman's warmth pushed back the cold. Healing wounds and giving strength, Jack fought near her, protecting her from the enemy's sharp attacks. He saw the power in her eyes, a power born from loss, hope, and pain. But even her light had limits. The shadows kept coming, endless and fierce in the chaos. A scream rang out. Eli, the young boy who once touched the woman's hand, was cornered by the enemy. Jack ran to help, fighting through the dark creatures. The woman's light grew brighter as she reached out. Pushing the shadows away, the enemy retreated for a moment. But not for long. They circled the camp, waiting for another chance. Tom, the man who doubted the woman, used the fight to move quietly. He planned to strike when no one was watching. Jack noticed Tom's strange behavior and called to him. Tom turned, anger burning in his eyes. "You don't understand," Tom said. "She is the danger. We should end this now." Before Jack could stop him, Tom moved toward the woman, but the alien's eyes flashed with warning. A sudden burst of warmth exploded from her hands. Tom froze, his anger replaced by fear. The camp fell silent. The battle paused. The woman spoke slowly. "I only want to protect life." Tom's face changed, doubt mixing with fear. Jack stepped between them, holding his ground. "We must trust each other," Jack said. "This fight is bigger than us all." The enemy circled closer again. Breaking the moment, the battle resumed, louder and more desperate. The woman's warmth became a shield. The humans fought harder. Inspired by her light, as night fell, the enemy began to retreat. They disappeared into the forest like smoke in the wind. The camp was quiet but not safe. Jack knew this was only the beginning of the hunt. The alien woman knelt by the fire, tired but strong. She touched the glowing crystal, now brighter than before. "We must find the others," she said softly. "My people are scattered. We can fight only if we are together." Jack looked at her, hope growing inside him. "If we find them, we can stop the shadows," he said. "But we need a plan." The people gathered around, listening to the woman's story. She told them about her home, the enemy, and the warmth she carried. Her words were simple but filled with meaning. The camp began to believe in a future beyond fear, But deep in the forest, eyes watched and waited. The enemy was not gone, only silent. They prepared for the next strike, and the hunt would continue until the warmth was lost or saved. The hunt has started. The danger is real. Jack and the alien woman must lead their small group through shadows and fear. But trust is fragile, and every step could be the last. The camp was quiet after the battle, but the air was thick with tension and doubt. The alien woman's warmth still pulsed softly, healing wounds and easing fears. Yet, something darker grew beneath the surface, fear of the unknown. Jack walked among the people, sensing the unease. Not everyone trusted the woman who saved them. Whispers spread like wildfire, and eyes watched her with suspicion. Tom was at the center of it all, his fear turning to anger. One evening, as the fire flickered low, Tom gathered a small group in secret. "We cannot let this stranger destroy us," he said quietly. "She carries power, yes, but at what cost? What if the shadows come because of her?" His words found echoes among the frightened. Some nodded, afraid to speak openly. Tom's group grew in secret, planning to take action before the next attack. Meanwhile, the alien woman sat with Jack. She looked tired, her eyes heavy with sorrow. "I want to help," she said, "but they do not trust me." Jack placed a hand on her shoulder. "We will face this together," he promised. But even he could not ignore the growing divide. That night, a loud noise shattered the quiet. Shouts echoed from the outer camp. Jack ran to see what was happening. He found Tom's group surrounding the alien woman. Tom held a weapon, his face hard and cold. "This ends now," he said. "We will protect our people, with or without her." The woman stood calm but firm. "My warmth can save you," she said. "Please, do not let fear blind you." But fear was stronger, and a struggle began. Jack stepped between them, trying to stop the fight. The camp was torn apart by anger and mistrust. In the chaos, the glowing crystal slipped from the woman's hand. It fell to the ground and cracked with a sharp sound. The warmth faded and cold swept through the camp. People gasped, feeling the sudden chill. The alien woman looked at the broken crystal, her eyes filled with pain, deeper than anyone had seen. Tom looked around, his anger faltering. "What have we done?" he whispered. But the damage was done. Jack knelt beside the woman. "Can we fix it?" he asked. She nodded slowly, touching the cracked pieces. A soft glow returned, but it was weaker. "We need to be united," she said. "Only together can we keep the warmth alive." The camp was silent, the fight leaving scars deeper than wounds. Trust was broken and fear still ruled. In the days that followed, Jack worked to heal the group. He spoke with Tom, trying to find peace. The alien woman shared more of her story, showing her true feelings. She was not just a stranger. She was alone and desperate. Slowly, some people began to understand. The warmth was more than power. It was hope, but the enemy was still out there, waiting one night while the camp slept. A shadow moved through the darkness. It was silent and deadly, searching for a way inside. The enemy had not forgotten the woman. Jack awoke to a sudden chill. He saw the shadow creeping toward the fire. He shouted to warn the others. The camp stirred, weapons raised. The alien woman stepped forward, glowing with the last light of the crystal. She called out, pushing the shadow back. But the creature was strong. It lunged at her, and the fight began again. This time the camp stood together. Tom fought beside Jack and the woman. The broken trust began to heal in the heat of battle. The enemy retreated, defeated for now, but the danger was not gone. The camp knew that betrayal almost cost them everything. The alien woman looked at the people. "We are stronger together," she said softly. Jack nodded. "Betrayal can break us, or it can teach us to trust more deeply." The night ended with hope, but also a warning. The hunt was far from over, and the true test of trust was yet to come. The camp was quiet after the fight, but Jack could feel the weight of something hidden beneath the surface. The alien woman sat by the fire, her eyes distant. As if remembering something far away, Jack decided it was time to learn the truth. He approached her slowly, careful not to break the fragile peace. "Tell me everything," he said quietly. She looked up, surprised, but nodded. "My people were once many, full of light and warmth," she began, "but a secret changed everything." Jack listened closely as she spoke. Her voice was soft but filled with pain. "There was a weapon, a power we thought could save us, but it brought destruction instead." The woman told him about a crystal. Older than any star, it held great warmth and life. but also a terrible power. Her people used it to fight the enemy, but the power was too strong, too dangerous. The crystal split our world, she said. Some wanted to use its power to save us all. Others feared it would destroy everything. The fight tore us apart. Jack could see the pain in her eyes. "This is why you are alone?" he asked. She nodded. "I fled with the last piece of the crystal, hoping to find help and restore what was lost." Suddenly, a noise came from the trees. Jack stood quickly, ready to protect. But it was only Eli, the young boy. He carried a small device glowing faintly. "What is that?" Jack asked, curious. Eli smiled. "I found it near the old ruins," he said. "It looks like a piece of the crystal." The woman's eyes widened. "This could be the key to restoring warmth," she whispered. "But the enemy will stop at nothing to take it." The camp gathered around as Eli showed the device. The people began to hope again. Maybe there was a way to save their world. But the danger was real and time was running out that night. Jack and the woman planned their next move. They decided to search the ruins for more pieces of the crystal, but the journey would be dangerous. Deep into enemy territory as they prepared, Tom approached Jack quietly. "I want to help," he said, surprising Jack. "After what happened, I see now she is not the enemy," Jack nodded. "We need everyone if we are to survive." The group gathered weapons and supplies, ready to face the unknown before they left. The woman held the broken crystal close, her eyes filled with determination. "We must find the truth hidden in the ruins. Only then can we hope to stop the shadows forever." The next morning, the small group set out. The forest was thick and dark. Every step filled with danger. The shadows watched from afar, waiting. As they neared the ruins, strange sounds filled the air. The ground trembled beneath their feet. The ruins were ancient, covered in vines and glowing faintly. Inside they found carvings and symbols, telling a story long forgotten. The crystal's power was tied to the balance of life and death. If used wrong, it could bring endless cold and darkness. The group felt the weight of the secret. The enemy was not just outside. They were tied to the crystal's curse. The woman's people had made a mistake long ago, and now it was up to them to fix it. Suddenly the shadows attacked. Breaking the silence, the battle was fierce. But the group fought with new strength. They used the light of the broken crystal to push back the darkness. After the fight, they found another piece of the crystal hidden in the ruins. The woman held it carefully. "Each piece brings us closer to hope," she said. "But also closer to danger." Jack looked at the ruins, feeling the truth deep inside. This was not just a fight for survival. It was a fight to heal the past and build a future. The hidden truth was clear now. They must unite and face the shadows together or be lost forever in the cold. The first light of morning broke over the dark forest. The air was still, filled with the promise of change. The camp, once broken and full of fear, now held a new hope. Jack stood beside the alien woman, watching the sun rise slowly. The broken pieces of the crystal glowed softly in her hands. They were more than fragments. They were a chance to heal. Together they had faced shadows, betrayal, and doubt. Now they stood ready to face the future. The people gathered around, their faces tired but strong. They had learned to trust, to fight, and to believe. Tom stood among them, his eyes clear and steady. Even he had found hope in the woman's warmth. The alien woman spoke to the crowd, her voice calm and steady. "We have found pieces of our past, and with them, a chance for life. But the enemy still hunts us, and the cold is not gone. We must be strong." United and brave, Jack stepped forward. "We will protect this camp, this home, and each other," he said. "We will not let fear divide us again." The woman smiled softly. "Our warmth is a light in the darkness. Together, we can bring a new dawn." As the day began, the group prepared for their final battle. The shadows would come again, but this time they were ready. The broken crystal was their weapon, their shield and their hope. The enemy appeared like a storm, dark and endless, but the camp stood firm. The alien woman raised the crystal high. A wave of warm light spread across the battlefield. The shadows screamed and recoiled. They could not stand against the power of unity and hope. Jack and the others fought bravely, their hearts burning with the warmth they protected. The battle was long, but finally, the shadows began to fade. The cold lifted, and the sun shone brighter than ever before. The alien woman looked around, her eyes full of tears and joy. "We have won," she said softly. The camp cheered. They had survived the darkness and found a new beginning. Jack turned to the woman. "What will you do now?" he asked. She smiled. "My people need me," she said. "But this world is my home now too." The alien woman and the humans began to rebuild. The crystal's light grew stronger, and the warmth spread across the land. The shadows were gone. But their story was a lesson about trust, hope, and the power of unity. As the new dawn rose high, the alien woman whispered to the wind, "Let me keep you warm." And this time the promise was true.